What's going on, everybody? It's your man Cleveland Terry. I recorded the initial video for the Phenyx system about 2 weeks ago, and then I wanted to test out the microphone. I wanted to test it out in an actual party related scenario just so I could kind of see what I felt about it. And I'm gonna need to drink some water. And I think because of that, I was able to really get a good feel for this microphone system. Now, I wasn't sure that you could produce a quality microphone for under 200 bucks. And it's not just under 200 bucks. I mean, keep in mind, this system produces 4 microphones to go along with the receiver. So 4 microphones for $189, sometimes cheaper if you have the coupon code, compared to like the SHURE, PGX system, which is 1 microphone and 1 receiver, which will cost you a little more than that. Really starts to question how much money you're spending at a given price point. And if the higher price that you're paying is actually a good value, because sometimes you really are just buying something for the name. SHURE makes great products, so I'm not saying you're buying it just for the name for SHURE products, but a lot of these companies, they have all of their stuff manufactured overseas. China is a huge industrial market for a lot of the products you buy. You think you're buying something from SHURE or Chevy or American DJ, and then you start to look at the internals and you realize it's made by the same company. They're just rebadging the name on it. And if you use Chevy over American DJ, you're a snob. But in reality, once you take those names off, they're the same product. They're all coming from China. So it's really difficult to say, well, it's just a knockoff product, so why buy it? A lot of times they're being specced out by competing companies and making products that are very similar to the ones that you're paying a premium price for, and they are delivering just as good a quality. I think that's what we have here. This microphone is, it's a very good microphone. I have very few complaints about this microphone. Let's talk about the things that I like. The sound. The sound in this microphone is very, very good. I would put this in between the microphones of like the SM58 and maybe 87s, the ones that are found on the SLXs and the GLX systems. This falls right in between both of them. It's got a really good sound. Not a lot of EQing needs to be done to make it sound good. The pickups in the microphone are actually very, very good. I didn't find I had to adjust the volume. As a matter of fact, I had to turn the volumes down. I know there's a 10 plus built into the microphone. I think it's in the knobs and it's not an actual switchable plus 10 to give you that extra, power. But it's very loud. It has a really nice pickup. Sound is good. It's warm, not a lot of EQing. I did notice that if the decibel level on your speakers got too loud, you do risk having a little feedback in these. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Just like with the other review I did about the SHUREs, and I talked about the fact that when you have a microphone and you have a larger front element here that's picking up a lot of external frequencies, which is good for people that are talking that aren't experienced with microphones, but bad for just residual sound. And if it gets too loud, you're going to start to get sound that you don't want crossing into this microphone. Then you may get a little bit of feedback. I didn't get a lot because I know how to adjust for the feedback, but that is something to keep in mind. Distance, the range is very, very good on this thing. I mean, obviously I didn't travel outside and across the street to make sure that the range was good, but within an entire room, within a group of people, I walked all the way to the end of the dance floor, all the way to the end of the room, and never had a single problem with the microphone as far as picking up the antennas. So that's good. There are 4 of these, and so that makes for a healthy backup system. So I use this on 2 different parties. I use this one on a bar mitzvah, and I actually let my female MC use it, and that's always a big question mark when you're dealing with females versus males on how the sound is, and because you have to EQ females sometimes very differently than you EQ a male. She was on the microphone all night with it, and her vocals actually sounded really good. I have no complaints about this microphone being able to be used between men and women. It's a good sounding microphone. It's weighty. It is very weighty, which is good. It does make you feel like you have a nice piece of equipment in your hands. I don't love the fact of the metal. That little metal thing is kind of annoying, and it does add some weight. You take off this slip piece here, and the microphone is noticeably lighter, but once you put it back on, that's when it gets a little bit on the weightier, beefier side, which makes it feel like a little bit of a more higher end microphone, but don't let that fool you. It's false weight. I mean, the system is good, but that's just what it is. So let's talk about what I don't like / what I'm concerned with. And then the two major things that I absolutely don't like, and I forgot to talk about them, so I'm actually back in the video going to show you what I'm talking about here. I cannot stand the placement of that power button. The power button, it actually sits in between the edge of the sleeve and the button. Now, if you see here the button, you can see there's a full button right there. But when you put the sleeve on it, wrong way, when you put the sleeve on it, and you tighten it up, you don't get the entire button. You get like 3/4 of the button. So it makes it for a real nice, I can't turn it off situation, but you can't turn it off without looking for that button. On normal microphones like a Shure, the Sennheiser, the microphone is usually at the exact bottom, the switch, or on the side. You can just hit the button right here in your hand. This one, you have to bring your hand down. It's almost a two-handed operation. And I don't like that feeling, knowing that I have to kind of look, turn it on, and then turn it back off. And then the final thing, not a deal breaker, but kind of a big deal. There is absolutely no way to turn this microphone off. You can turn off the display, but in essence, what you're really doing is you're just muting it. See, when the green is on, which is always on, it never turns off. When the green display is on, it is on. And then when you press the button on the back, you turn it off, but you're not really turning it off. You see the display is still active. You're still seeing the display, which means the battery is still being used. There is no mute. Basically, the on-off button is the mute. It's either muted or it's on. There's no true off. The only way to turn off, to completely turn off the microphone, is to remove the batteries out of the bay. That's an annoyance. I've never seen a microphone system do that. They always have an off. Most of the time they don't have a mute function, but they always have at least an on and an off. This one does not. Not a deal breaker. It's just something you have to understand, that when you're done for the evening, open up the bay, take the batteries out, and then you don't have to worry about killing your batteries, because I used it on Saturday, full batteries. Only used it for, a couple hours. Then I went to the karaoke and I turned it on, which was like 3 days later, and 2 of the microphones had dead transmitters because the battery is always on. So remember, just take out the batteries after you're done with it, or you're gonna kill a whole bunch of batteries unnecessarily. The fixed microphone frequencies are a little bit of a concern to me, and that's only if you're buying this particular model. I don't run into too many times where the frequencies versus the channel play into problems with the system where, I'm getting pops, I'm getting cutouts. Usually I can just adjust the channel and then I don't have that issue. But because each microphone operates on its own fixed frequency, you do risk sometimes running into issues where you can't find, where that frequency is just being taken up by whatever system's on there, and it's more powerful than your microphone, and then you risk having your microphone cease to work, or at least work very, very poorly in the venue that you're at or the location that you're at. So that's something you're gonna have to realize. But when you do that, maybe you just switch to a higher frequency microphone of the 4, which means, 1, you gotta bring all 4 microphones in order to make sure that you're gonna have at least 1 microphone that works. That's a little bit of an annoyance to me. The fact that the higher end microphone has the variable frequency range would lead me to say it's probably better if you buy the variable. Now, did I run into any issues with this microphone? No, not whatsoever. And at $189, I mean, it's a steal for what you get. I mean, you get a nice receiver with a great distance, great travel distance. You get 4 microphones that are all of decent quality. Yeah, you're dealing with the fixed frequency, but for some people, that's not gonna matter. One of the things that I really liked about it is that I actually used the mic system for karaoke. I did a karaoke event, and it was really convenient to be able to just leave 4 microphones on the table, and then I had enough microphones to cover anybody that wanted to sing. I could adjust the knobs right on the face of the receiver plate, and it was easy to adjust the volumes. Yeah, I couldn't EQ them per se, but you know, when you're dealing with when you're dealing with karaoke, for the most part, it's just a whole bunch of drunk singers anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it was perfect, worked perfectly. So for something like that, for something when you're dealing with like a karaoke, instead of having to bring, I did a karaoke for a grad party last year and they wanted multiple microphones. I had to bring 4 receivers, 4 microphones. So that means I needed to bring all these plugs and all these XLRs to plug it into the mixer. Now, I don't have to do that. I can bring this one receiver, I can plug the 1/4 inch, the XLR into a mixer, or I can feed them individually into the mixer with the 4 channels on there, and then EQ the hell out of them however I want. That is fantastic. So I think that for a lot of people in a lot of different situations, this is gonna be a game changer. Keep in mind, you can swap out the microphones for, say, a couple of lapel mics, where you can use 2 lapel mics and have 2 microphones. Then this might make a really good wedding box. You know, you got 4 channels. You got one for the officiant, one for the bride, a lapel for the bride, a lapel for the groom, and maybe you have one more for like a guitarist. So you get all of that stuff done right in one little box. Makes your setup very, very simple. Now, I know that the higher end companies are coming out with 4-channel receiver microphone setups, and you can just buy it through there. And of course, sure, I mean, if you want to do that, that's great. But if you're looking for something that's a little more affordable, well, maybe you look into this Phenyx system. And then if you want something a little better with even better range, the upgraded Phenyx version, which sells for, I believe it's right around $300, and I'll post it right there so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. That might be one for you. I'm actually gonna request that they send that one to me also so I can review that one, just so I can really just tell you for sure which one is the better one. But overall, I have no complaints about this system. It does what it says it's gonna do, and I don't know about the longevity of the system. Like, I don't know about the durability, how long it's gonna last, if I'm gonna lose a microphone at some point, it's just gonna die on me. I have no information on that because it is a newer tested product for me. But for the 2 parties that I did, I had absolutely no complaints. And it's rackable, so you can put it in your rack, you can put it underneath your controller setup. Oh, and by the way, I know I'd mentioned that the antennas were long and I was concerned that they weren't gonna fit in the controller. Actually, they fit just fine in the bottom of the controller base using I'm using the Pro X case. It worked just fine. So if that's an issue for you, don't worry about it. It'll fit in there nicely. Besides that, guys, that's my review for today. If you found what I said here useful, hit the like button. If you found what I said here really useful, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you are notified when I post my latest videos. Guys, we're at the end of 2019. I hope this year was as good for you as it was for me. I've had a great time doing this along with my actually other work, and I've had a great time talking to all of you, and I think there's gonna be some really good things coming on board. We got NAMM in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for all of that. So make sure you follow me because I'm gonna be posting a lot of information from NAMM. All right, guys, once again, always a pleasure. If I don't talk to you later, we'll talk soon. Peace.